to the douche monkeys it may concern.
Smitty, what are you doing?
Oh, I am typing a strongly worded email to those at Moto America who ran the King of Baggers race.
And why are you doing that?
Because there were no bikes or baggers that weren't V4s or 6 cylinders. It was just V-twins.
Aren't those the rules?
I'm sorry, did you say aren't those the rules? So you're one of those people who agrees that only the V-twins should have been allowed to race? You know what? I'm not going to have this shit from you. Just roll the intro, please. Hey, what's up, y'all? So, as you saw from the intro, today we're going to talk about the King of Baggers. If you don't know what the King of Baggers is, or you're not a MotoGP person, I'm really not a MotoGP racing person either until a few years ago. My buddy Jackie Boy, who we've shown pictures of before, who passed away, one of his favorite things was going to Austin to MotoGP every year. Him and another friend of ours would ride our bikes down there. I'd always planned to take the trip with him. I never did. That's one of those things I regret. Another subject for another time. Anyway, so I was sitting around the garage with all these bikes in it, and it got me to thinking. When I sit down and watched the King of Baggers, okay, which was a race. Now, normally MotoGP, you've got sport bikes, and that's what you're watching race, but Moto America put on this race, the King of Baggers, with larger 800, 900 pound bikes. Now, the weight was shaved down these bikes for the tracks and everything, but it got me interested. I watched it and I enjoyed the shit out of it. It was amazing. Now, of course, it was V-twin motorcycles, and American-made motorcycles, and that's all that was entered into the race. We'll talk about that more later. But what was impressive was the way you had guys riding on baggers and dropping a knee in the corners and leaning those bikes over. Stuff they said couldn't be done on those bikes. Now, every one of those bikes, they didn't have 21-inch front wheels, or they had 17-inch front wheels, 16-inch front wheels. They were set up to race. But it was still amazingly impressive to me to watch these great big bikes that they tell you can't do that on. My bike's 750 pounds, 800 pounds with gear on it. They say you can't do that. Those cats showed you that if you set up the suspension right, you do a few things you can. So it was amazing to me to watch. What was even more impressive to me was, I'm not a Polaris fan, you all know that, but Indian took first and third place. That was impressive. The top 3 places were Indian took first place with an Indian Challenger that was sponsored by S&S. Harley Davidson took second place with a bike that was sponsored by Vance and Hines. And then Indian also took third place on a Challenger that was sponsored by Roland Sands Designs. Now, this King of Baggers race was held at the Laguna Seca Raceway and held on by Moto America, which is some of the same people that do MotoGP. Anyway, it was really cool. The idea behind it, the thought behind it, I thought it was awesome. I don't watch MotoGP racing, and I don't watch motorcycle racing or NASCAR all the time, so this was a little bit different. It was kind of cool to watch. Now, the thing here is, to me, I'm glad that you got to see really the 2 big bagger companies go head to head right now, because look, Harley Davidson is the King of Baggers as far as sales, as far as production. We all know this. Indian has been kind of taking some of their headway out of there. And of course, I mean, we'll talk about the Honda Goldwing in a minute. Okay. But for the race purposes, man, it was really cool. If you get the opportunity to watch it, go back and watch it. I'm going to put a link down in the description so that you can see the race. The race was cool. Now, here's my critique of the race, okay? My critique is this. If they want to do this race and you want to go with the King of the Baggers, what you need to do, you need to kind of invite everyone. And the reason I say you need to invite everyone is because I think if we want to talk about comfort and we want to talk about hard running and a good bike, nobody out there is really going to shy away from saying that the Honda Goldwing sets the standard for a hard running, fast running, comfortable cross-country touring bike, okay? So if you're gonna do this race and you really want to see who the King of Baggers is, I've got an idea for you. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm nobody. Nobody's really gonna pay attention But for the sake of those who like watching me talk shit, here's what I suggest. I suggest you do a MotoGP type race, another King of Baggers race. Do it in Austin, Texas. They normally have a MotoGP race in Austin, so that would be badass. Now, here's what I propose. You need to let Honda get in there and make it into the Gold Wing. Let Yamaha get in there with their Star Eluder. Let Kawasaki get in there with the Vulcan Vaquero. Look, I know that's a smaller motor bagger, but I think that we might be surprised as to what that Kawasaki can do. If you take those bikes and you get sponsors and you get the suspension on them and you take them and you race them in that style of race, and you have Harley and Indian and Honda and Yamaha and Kawasaki, I think you'll be really, really surprised as to what you might get. Now, I know what you're gonna say. There's some brands that just don't have a fixed fairing bagger, and that's what this race is. It's fixed fairing baggers. Suzuki unfortunately doesn't. They have a cruiser type touring bike that just has a windshield in the C90. But anyway, just for the sake of a King of Baggers race, this race was 8 laps. I say do another 8 laps. Harley's gonna be sponsored. Harley's got their own racing team. They're sponsored, no big deal. Indian, let S&S sponsor another one. Let Arlen Sand sponsor another one. Harley Davidson has Vance and Hines sponsoring them. Do that again. Hey, Goldwing, Honda, whatever parts makers are out there for Honda, let them sponsor a Honda bike and see what it does. I think that big flat 6-cylinder motor, I know it's heavy, but if you threw the right suspension and you lighten these bikes up, because that's what they did, they lightened the bikes up for that race, I think you'd be amazed at what you'd see. I would love to see the Yamaha Star Eluder in that race going corner to corner and dragging it. People dragging knee on a Gold Wing would be amazing to me. Look, I'm a hell of a rider. I've been riding for years. Never drug a knee on Daphne Blake. Never tried, and to see somebody doing this big ass bike was amazing. So that's what I propose. Let's talk to somebody. Let's just throw the idea out there. What the hell? Hey, it probably won't happen, but who gives a shit? Let's give it a try. Let's see what we can do with all these companies with fixed fairing baggers. Because when you start showing some of the younger guys that, hey man, some of these cruisers and some of these baggers are light enough for you to be able to do these kind of things with, man, you might get some more people to start buying the Indians and the Harleys and the Gold Wings, the Honda Gold Wing, and the Yamaha Star Eluder, and the Kawasaki Vulcan Vaquero, which, man, to me, I think is one of the best looking baggers out there. I like their fixed fairing. I just like the way it looks. Anyway, point being, we get more people involved and more people interested, then guess what? We get more people motorcycling, okay? Now, that's just my 2 cents, but please check out the race. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. If you love motorcycles and you love watching people do things on motorcycles that they should not be able to do, especially on baggers, check it out. Now, for me, it holds a special place in my heart. I've said it before, but like I said, my buddy Jackie Boy, whom I love to death, great guy. One of his favorite things was motorcycle racing. MotoGP meant something to him, so when I watched it, it kind of felt like I was getting to hang out with him again. I got to drink a couple beers, sit there, smoke a cigar, reminisce, and think about my buddy. Take a look at this. Take a look at your thought. Watch the race. Hit me in the comments. Tell me what you think. Take a look at what's going on, the possibilities for doing some of these bikes, the things that you can do with them, and man, the potential's there. The thought of these baggers being able to do what they can do, I seriously think that they've hit on something, hit on a niche that, man, a lot of people haven't hit on. I think this is going to be popular. I think it's going to take off. I think we're going to see more of these types of races, and I'm all for having one come to Texas. If they bring it to Austin, I promise you there will be a big Smitty riding trip to Austin to see this kind of a race. Hey y'all, as always, thanks for watching. Remember, hit the subscribe button, hit the little bell icon so you get notifications every time I make a video. Most of my videos drop on Thursday. Every once in a while I get a wild hair at my ass and I drop one at a different time, so you never know, because that's just kind of how I am. Hit the like button, leave me a comment, good or bad. Hey, tell me what you think. Tell me what you think about the potential for seeing an expanded bagger class, maybe an expanded cruiser class, or even a sport touring class, just to see what they would do. I think it would be interesting. I think this got people talking about motorcycles again. There's just a small portion of people who watch the MotoGP races. this kind of expanded that to Harley people and even bagger people and cruiser people who normally don't watch it. So to me, it was a damn good thing. Great idea. Great job, Moto America, on putting it on. Man, would love to see more of that. Anyway, hey, I want to tell you as always, hey, thanks for watching. I want you to have a great day. Let's try not to be assholes to each other, and I'll see y'all next time.